Week will be with reported seizures, headaches, even potential blindness. Can NutraSweet be responsible? We're going to find out.
We're going to meet a 67-year-old grandmother who was voted campus homecoming queen.
Yahoo! We'll tell you about the hottest movies on video.
And Gary, I've heard you say this for years.
Yes.
Do you mind if I give it a try?
Stop that, Marianne, isn't it?
Oh, that's not it. No, it's this. On this Thursday edition of Our Magazine.
Terrific. Soft drinks, brownie mix, salad dressings, ice creams, the list goes on. There are over 170 products on our supermarket shelves today that currently contain aspartame, more commonly known as NutraSweet. How safe is this artificial sweetener? Shannon Roth heads a support group called Victims of Aspartame and their friends. She has lost sight in her left eye and feels that NutraSweet was responsible. She's here with Dr. Dennis Remington, author of The Bitter Truth About Artificial Sweeteners, and Jim Turner, a lawyer who heads the Aspartame Consumer Safety Network. Here in defense of NutraSweet are Dr. Robert Moser, Vice President of Medical Affairs for the NutraSweet Company, and attorney Jim Phelps. Mr. Ross, let me start with you. How many people are involved in your organization, and what are the range of complaints?
We have about 1,500 members of our organization, and they range anywhere from headaches to seizure, vision disorders.
All right, any litigation currently underway?
I know of 3 that will be getting underway.
But they're not underway as we speak?
No.
All right. Are you involved in any litigation? No. All right. Your purpose here today is?
To educate people and to tell everyone what happened to me, because I don't want anyone to get into the situation I was in, not knowing that there is a problem with these products. I felt perfectly safe in using them because the FDA had approved it.
All right, let's talk about your problem. You lost sight in one of your eyes.
Yes.
Which one, may I ask?
Left.
All right, can you give me the background?
Yes. This happened in August of 1984, the last week of August. It occurred over a 4-day period. And at the end of the 4 days, I was totally blind in my left eye. I had used NutraSweet for about 18 months before this reaction. At the time, I had other reactions that had occurred over the several months before this particular blindness.
Such as?
Memory loss, confusion, insomnia,
all right,
irritability, personality change. But I actually thought that they were all due to stress because of my job. Not until the vision loss occurred did I go to the doctor, which I would like to say at this point, if anyone is experiencing any of these symptoms and they want to blame it on NutraSweet, I want them to go to the doctor, take it up with him. Don't diagnose yourself. That is totally the wrong thing to do.
All right. Let me ask you, Ms. Ross, if you consider NutraSweet to be the culprit in this, why aren't you involved in some kind of action?
That's really not my purpose. I'm more interested in letting people know that there is a problem. I feel that my story has merit, and that if they hear this, maybe they will look into it, investigate it, and make their own decision whether or not to use it.
All right, let's move on to Dr. Remington. Dr. Remington, do you support this theory?
Absolutely.
Based on what?
Well, I've seen personally a number of people that have had difficulties that seem to begin with the use of NutraSweet, and when they stopped using the product, it went away, and then they've sometimes had some again, and the problem reoccurred again. And we've had reports of probably over 100 people now that have phoned into our office to tell us about their own particular stories about NutraSweet being suspected and causing difficulties.
Mm-hmm. What is it in the NutraSweet that's causing the problem here, to your knowledge?
Well, NutraSweet is made up of 2 different amino acids and methyl alcohol. None of them found separately in nature. All of them have been shown to have some neurotoxic effect on the human brain. And in fact, the human organism is uniquely sensitive to all of these things. And there's different doctors that have said that, well, the methyl alcohol can cause problems, the phenylalanine can cause problems, the aspartic acid can cause problems. And there's some concern that they were never really tested in people and for very long periods of time, nor were they tested in large amounts. And one of the big concerns we have, the testing that was done was often in capsule form given along with meals. When people use them, as Shannon has done, to miss meals along with in the middle of the afternoon in a diet drink or taking large amounts of them without food to buffer its effect, there can be some dramatic changes in brain chemistry which can produce a wide range of symptoms and other sorts of problems.
Dr. Moser, what is the FDA's position on aspartame, and what is your feeling? I realize fully that you're representing NutraSweet.
Well, Gary, I'm an internist, basically, and before I ever came to NutraSweet, I was very much involved in taking care of patients and in physician education. We are concerned about the problem that Shannon is having, and what she neglected to tell you was that over a year ago, we offered her to pay her way for a consultation to be seen by a competent ophthalmologist so that a proper diagnosis can be made in her case. It is just not possible for aspartame to cause blindness. The amount of methyl alcohol in aspartame is about equivalent to in a 12-ounce can of diet soda is equivalent. There's twice as much in a 6-ounce can of tomato juice. Mm-hmm. So the amount that one has to take to get to the level that would cause any type of optic difficulty is in the range of about 700 cans drunk at one time. Now that's a fact, that we know that. In Shannon's case, the company and myself are pleased that she's finally going to have a proper diagnosis made. My only concern is that I hope she hasn't delayed over a year now because something else is going on that she's attributed to this. And I'm delighted to hear her say that she thinks that doctors should see the individuals before they believe that aspartame has caused the problem. Because the FDA, as you said, has studied all adverse effects for the past 3.5 years, every allegation of an adverse effect, and every 6 months the FDA comes out and reassures the public that indeed aspartame is quite safe.
But don't they reassure the public with exception, doctor?
No, I don't think there's any qualification about it. The only individuals who should not drink aspartame are the same people who have a disease called phenylketonuria, mm-hmm. which is indicated on the label. These are people who cannot metabolize phenylalanine because of an inborn disease. They have a genetic disease that doesn't allow them to make an enzyme
this is what,
that handles it.
1 in 15,000?
1 in 15,000,
all right.
That's right.
How many examinations have you had thus far, Shannon? 7? By what type of doctors?
Ophthalmologist, neurologist, internist.
All right, now Dr. Moser said you really hadn't had yourself examined by a qualified ophthalmologist.
I don't understand why he says that. I have been, and one of the ophthalmologists even has expert in the field of methyl alcohol poisoning. He was involved in 352 cases of methyl alcohol poisoning.
Have you received any reports of physicians' examinations
from
Ms.
No, we have
Roth?
not. We have. That's why we're pleased that she's finally going to see an internationally world-class ophthalmologist for the first time. Right, someone who is not biased in this matter.
All right, are you concerned about seeing this particular doctor? And who's choosing this doctor? Is this by mutual consent?
It's a doctor who was on a list of 3 that Cyril submitted to me. And I'd like to say that I haven't delayed going to see a doctor for any reason other than trying to choose the right doctor. I was given the opportunity to choose a doctor of my own liking, and they refused one. The second doctor refused to get involved in the issue. The third doctor who was on their list did not want to get involved in the issue. So it has taken almost a year to come to a conclusion of a doctor that we both agree on. And over that period of 1 year, they have withdrawn the offer 3 times.
All right, let's find out why the offer has been withdrawn. If indeed it has, we'll be talking to the attorney who represents NutraSweet when we return.
By special arrangement with Reader's Digest, here is the world's most celebrated choir. Their glorious songs of inspiration, love of country, and faith in God have never been equaled and have never been more needed. And now, here are the Mormon Tabernacle Choir's magnificent recordings for you to enjoy. You get America's most loved songs of faith, as only the Mormon Tabernacle Choir can sing them. Voices to bring God's strength and love into your life every day. Through Reader's Digest, you get all these most loved songs of faith in this treasury. But you also get this entire Spirit of America album. Song will stir your heart with the spirit of this great country. How you love the Mormon Tabernacle Choir's glorious Spirit of America treasury. But remember, you also get the most loved songs of faith album. You get both Reader's Digest treasuries in this limited TV offer. Be sure to order now.
Mail 1298 to Tabernacle Choir, Box 537, South Bend 46624. You get 2 beautiful, inspiring records, 2 cassettes, or 2 8-track tapes. This special Mormon Tabernacle Choir offer will end with no advance notice. Write this address down now. Mail 1298 to Tabernacle Choir, Box 537, South Bend 46624. Tabernacle Choir, Box 537, South Bend, Indiana 46624.
Shannon Roth, Dr. Dennis Remington, and Jim Turner, who've been expressing their concerns about NutraSweet, and Dr. Robert Moser and Jim Phelps, who are here to explain why they feel that NutraSweet is safe. Let's go to Jim Phelps, representing NutraSweet. First of all, I find it hard to believe that if she's been examined 7 or 8 times, Mr. Phelps, that you're not aware of those examinations. Is that correct? And I'm not...
That's correct. We're not aware of them.
Did you not send anything to them? Are they not aware of that?
No, I haven't sent them my medical records because the first communication I had with them was, no, it could not have possibly caused your problem. Don't you think you probably have another disease?
Mm-hmm. Do you think she has another disease, Mr. Phelps?
Well, I'm no doctor,
yes.
And I'm not going to offer a diagnosis for Miss Roth. I should say that the responsible authorities in the United States have heard her story for many years now, and have considered the points that she's made and still conclude that the product is safe and that there's no causal relation between what she claims is her illness and NutraSweet.
Mm-hmm.
I should add that the facts that Ms. Roth raises today and the facts that are raised by these folks with her have been known to the 60-some regulatory authorities throughout the world who have approved the product for safety and continue to approve the product for safety. I should add also that, and because I've been involved in it, I guess I feel free to talk about it, I've been involved in the legal process and the congressional process by which the decision of FDA to approve NutraSweet in this country has been reviewed. And every step along the way, in the district court, in the Court of Appeals, in the Supreme Court, the ruling has come back that the procedures used, the judgments made by FDA have been done with propriety, strict propriety.
Mr. Turner, you had the Aspartame Consumer Safety Organization, and are we talking about basically a very safe substance here, and it's pretty hard to overdose on it and cause the kind of effects that we've been discussing today, or are there certain people who are just that sensitive to it?
Well, it's very definite in our experience that there is a wide number of people who are highly sensitive to NutraSweet. It's a neurological problem that they experience. We have too many people from too many parts of the country raising issues. They take NutraSweet, they have headaches, they have loss of memory, seizures, eye damage. They will stop taking NutraSweet and they will have these symptoms go away. In fact, the Center for Disease Control reviewed the first 650 complaints, and over 25% of those had this effect. Problems, stop taking NutraSweet, problems go away, start taking it and the problems come back. That, on the basis of that, they argued that there needed to be a series of new clinical studies done to examine what was really going on here. It is precisely this that we're trying to have accomplished. And what we need are studies that are done that are credible. And by credible, I mean that everyone involved in the controversy and in the country can believe them. I am critical of the FDA. I do not think that the FDA did the proper thing in this instance. Every other regulatory agency in the world that has made a decision on this has relied on FDA. They say, well, if FDA did it right, then we accept that. we are not in a situation where clear independent studies have established the safety of this substance.
All right, Mr. Turner's indicating that there really hasn't been, even though this drug has been out and very successful, there hasn't been enough testing, and he's arguing for additional testing, and both of you seem to be a bit baffled by that. Explain, would you please?
Well, it's simply not true. The fact is that the FDA, which is the watchdog of American safety that we have empowered to protect the American public against food additives and drugs, has repeatedly reviewed all of the data that has been forthcoming from hundreds of studies about aspartame in animals and in human beings, and has come forth and said that aspartame is safe. His quote of the CDC study is erroneous. The CDC again verified the safety of aspartame. You know, I don't know, Gary, what we have to do to prove to the American public and to people like Turner that aspartame is safe. The fact is that it is safe. The 60 regulatory agencies around the world, the American Medical Association, the American Academy of Pediatrics, every scientifically valid group that has really scrutinized this in an impartial way has come up and said aspartame is okay.
All right, gentlemen, briefly, let's sum up. The problems, Dr. Remington?
I'm concerned about the side effects, but I'm also concerned about the fact that I don't think that NutraSweet is a useful product for losing weight. I think artificial sweeteners have some impact on brain chemistry. They affect regulatory centers that affect the weight. I think that when people use them to miss meals and to starve themselves, that they contribute to malnourishment problems. And I think that in the long term, the use of artificial sweeteners merely make people fatter. And I think that when people begin to use large amounts of these things on empty stomachs, they're asking for trouble as far as the side effect issues go.
Ms. Turner?
We do not know the answer to the question, how safe is this substance? The FDA is supposed to only allow something on when it is conclusively shown to be safe. Its own task force felt that the data they were relying on was not reliable. Its public board of inquiry said it should not be marketed until further testing is done. Subsequent to that, a new commissioner was appointed when Ronald Reagan came in, and that decision was overturned, and we started on this process that we're in now.
All right, in the limited time, gentlemen, rebuttal.
Jim?
Well, the process to which Mr. Turner alludes has been tested and tested and tested in the courts, in the realm of public opinion, in congressional hearings. No one who is in a position of authority, no one who is responsible for what he says that aspartame is anything but safe.
And the final point is that we're here because of this book, which contains a great deal of misinformation. And in some areas, if one really paid attention to this book, it could be rather dangerous.
You're talking about Dr. Remington's
Yes, Dr. Remington's. That's why we're here today, because of this outrageous book.
All right.
And I think that if this book is reviewed by any serious scientific body, it will be widely
Let's not get into a discussion of the book. Regardless of what we feel, we do have Mrs. Roth here today, and she's lost the sight in one eye, and I do hope we can get to the bottom of this. Thank you for being with us very much. And gentlemen, thank you. We're going to catch up with our man of the hour, Chuck Woolery, when we return. Stop that, Marianne.